Hi, it's Jamie, Progressive's Employee of the Month, 2 months in a row. Leave a message at the... Hi, Jamie. It's me, Jamie. I just had a new idea for our song about the Name Your Price tool. So when it's like, tell us what you want to pay, hey, 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 and the trombone goes, blah, 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 and you say, we'll help you find coverage options to fit your budget. Then we just all do finger snaps while a choir goes, savings coming at ya, savings coming at ya. Yes? No? Maybe? Anyway, see you at practice tonight. I got new lyrics for the rap break.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Blog Talk Radio.
Franchise Pro. Franchise Pros. Stan the Man. Paul Segreto. Time to show you the way of franchising today. Hey, do you possess the spirit of an entrepreneur? Wanna lay your business plan down like a rug or a floor? Or maybe you have a dream of opening a chain of delis, or whatever passion lights that pilot light under your belly. Or do you want to start a business, fam, using the proven trademark from another brand? And grow together and expand like a rage of fire, from a single to a multi-unit empire. Well, pay attention to this podcast that you hear and streaming in HD, so fine-tune both of your ears. And Stan and Paul lays down the law. Whether you want to be a franchisee or a franchisor, it's all about sustainable growth, the sensible franchising, proven concepts, and smart enterprising. So use your left and right side of your brain and absorb this knowledge here. Franchising today, Badlands, baby. Franchising today, sustainable growth, the sensible franchising. Franchise today, sustainable growth, the sensible franchising. Franchise today, franchising today, franchising today. Yeah.
Hello, everyone in the franchise world. My name is Paul Segreto, and this is Franchise Today. I guess we had a little bit of a technical snafu at the beginning as Badlands Booker opened up the show for us. And, of course, my guest, my co-host, Stan Friedman, is with me from Atlanta, getting ready to head up to Buffalo. Stan, how are you today, and will you be seeing Badlands this weekend?
Can't wait. I will be seeing Badlands and Joey Chestnut and the entire crew, and the National Buffalo Wing Festival is approaching, and the countdown is on to, I think this is my 16th year in Buffalo for Wingfest.
Wow.
It's been a long run, but it's been a ton of fun.
Yep, and I guess the cleanse diet starts on Tuesday next week?
Yeah, well, you know, if guys like Badlands can do it for a living, I think I can do it once a year, and that's about it. But you're right. It's I'm not sure which is worse, the consumption of wings or the consumption of beer, but neither one is really good for you. So, yeah, you're right. Next week it's cleanse.
Yep, a little bit of wing sauce in between, and it's on to Walgreens for some Rolaids and a little bit of a cleanse. So what's going on in the world of franchising, Stan?
Got a couple of things in the front of the house today, Paul. Something new I want to start today is I'd like to shout out the birthdays of the week. And I don't know what it is about this time of the year, but this week I think there are more birthdays in franchising than I've seen ever before. So let's make this a new feature on the show, Paul, and let's start with Sunday's birthdays and two luminaries in IFA leadership, both Shelley Sun and Doc Cohn, celebrated birthdays on Sunday. And then we moved into Monday where Tim Mady and Larry Myers, both of FC Datsun, had a shared day. On Monday, Nick Nianakis, CEO at the Franchise Consulting Group, on the same day, and then Mark Siebert, CEO of iFranchise Group. Yesterday, Chris Persifka, my old friend who I've known way back in his days as COO at Focus Brands and then later at Kahala, current CEO of the Brand Group in Phoenix, celebrated a birthday. Brandy Zickerfoos, Customer Success Manager at Listen 360. Today, Doug Smith, our friend, good old friend Doug Smith. I haven't seen or talked with him in too long. I'm going to have to give him a personal birthday wish today as well. Doug's at First Watch Breach Solutions. Ken Caldwell, VP of Development at Your Pie Franchising. Tomorrow, our good friend Paul Wolbert and let's round out the week with multi-unit franchisee of Days Gone By, IFA leader, as well as a Dunkin' Brands leader, George Zagrafos, celebrates a birthday on Friday. So tell me, Paul, what's in the water? You know, that's a lot of birthdays in one particular time of the year.
That is. Hey, I'm honored to have had my birthday within the 7-day period of Doc and Shelley. Hey, I hope some of that wisdom rubs off on me for sure.
Yeah, I could agree with you, buddy. Hey, Paul, sometimes it takes painful events in life to make better things happen. And I'll share two with you. One that I noted this week in Fortune magazine is a great interview with our friend Shane Evans, talking about how Massage Heights was born out of a back injury that had her needing to go get massages to ease her pain at a time when she really couldn't afford the price of a massage as frequently as she wanted one. Well, out of that painful event came 147 franchised units in the U.S. and Canada, and a company that now enjoys more than $110 million in revenue. Again, sometimes it takes a painful event to bring some good from it. And on another note, similarly, although this one not so pleasantly, we all know about the train wreck that's been happening at Papa John's, and the beleaguered pizza chain is out now with a social media campaign featuring some commercials that are basically apologizing to their audience of customers and raving fans for the utterance of some foul, the CEO used some bad language in making racially charged comments about the NFL and the position of the NFL with players. At the end of the day, the franchise company is making steep concessions to franchisees who are suffering from the backlash. And they've also begun looking at putting programs together to encourage minority ownership and to bring franchised businesses into communities that they serve with better representation and ownership of the communities that they serve. So again, it's a terrible way for a good thing to happen, but it looks like there may be a cultural change at Papa John's, albeit it's going to take a very long time to turn the corner that they're and climb the hill that they're looking at ahead of them. But we wish them the best of luck as well. And Paula, for the front of the house, I think we'll park it there so that we don't take any more time than that from our great guest today, Steve Greenbaum.
You know, I think it's interesting, Stan, you talk about that Papa John's situation and talk about, culture in an organization. And, of course, culture is all predicated on, people and treating people well and responsibly and as you would want to be treated and with the utmost respect. And I can't think of another leader in franchising than today's guest that really lives that every day. A matter of fact, not even knowing that you were going to talk about Papa John's today, I had pulled a quote from Steve in a recent article, and it says, on the notion of values alone, that's probably one of the key drivers, because when you have a clear set of values, they can vary from company to company. I use that as a filter, and of course today's title for the show is Building a People-Focused In-Home Care Brand. And I'd like to welcome back to the show, I think it's the third time, Steve Greenbaum. Steve, welcome again.
Hey, thank you, Paul. It's an honor to be here. Thank you both.
Great to have you with us
really
today.
Appreciate it. And, of course, for our listeners that may have known you from, PostNet days, which are not too long ago, Steve is currently the CEO of ComForCare Healthcare Holdings, a premier provider of non-medical in-home care with nearly 200 locations throughout the U.S., Canada, and the U.K. In this role, and for ComForCare's private equity partnership with the Riverside Company, he's also creating and leading a multi-brand franchise parent company with the recent acquisition of Care Patrol, the nation's largest senior placement organization. And, of course, there are more expansion plans across home care for aging adults. And, Steve, a lot of us know you for many, many years, going back to the early days of, PostNet. But still, for the listeners that don't, And as I always ask our guests to start the show, franchising seems to pop up and find us. We don't wake up one day and say, you know what, I think I'll go into franchising today. So if you would, take us back down memory lane a little bit to how franchising found you and kind of give us a quick overview through the years to where we are today.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. And if you don't mind, before we get started, I'd like to also just wish all of our dear friends in franchising that you mentioned happy birthdays. Quite a honorable group of people you mentioned. So I actually got involved in my early 20s, which would have been the early 80s, in the retail mailbox rental business, and developed about 400 independent mail-in parcel centers till about the time that I found franchising. And fundamentally, what had happened is I didn't know or understand what franchising was, but we were developing these independent businesses. And then when the Gulf War came in the early 90s, there were a lot of concerns about our ability to continue. We didn't have a trademark. We didn't have a royalty. And just interestingly enough for our listeners, I attended a conference put on by Phil Zeidman and Brett Lowell in Beverly Hills called Franchising. And I just got bit by the franchising bug and came back to to our small business, I will call it, and made the decision to franchise and actually put our FDD in place, identified, created the trademark PostNet, and then began franchising in July of 1993. And of course, from 1993 till I left the business, which was in April of 17, we developed over 660 locations in multiple countries throughout the world, the largest master franchisee being in Southern Africa with nearly 350 locations, and was just a great experience and a great journey for me. It is quite a journey. And of course, just recently you divested yourself of, PostNet and put it in the hands of some very reputable people, I would imagine. And you took a little bit of time, but of course you found your way right back into franchising. So if you would just kind of give us a little bit of what that journey was like. Yeah, well, it's interesting for folks on the call or that are listening to this later, when you've kind of defined yourself in a business, in an organization, in an industry, there's a bit of a kind of a coming to terms with that identity that you've learned to live with and that has, kind of been created as a result of your involvement with an organization. So I spent a little bit of time kind of trying to reflect and figure out who I was at the end of that journey. But in the process, there were a number of opportunities that made themselves available to me, folks interested in leadership at a variety of levels. And it was really only about 3 or 4 months after the transaction closed with PostNet that I was contacted by the Riverside Group. And I was honored, quite frankly, that they saw an opportunity for someone like me to provide the type of leadership that they were looking for, and decided that might be the right approach for me. Now, subsequently, and I'm happy to talk about any elements of that decision with you, I can tell you that I feel like I'm where I should be at this time in my life and my career, notwithstanding, missing a lot of my dear friends and past franchise owners from PostNet and my coworkers there, but really an exciting opportunity with a wonderful group of people that do meaningful work every day.
Steve, I have had conversations with you offline and shared with you how I sometimes just think you're too rough on yourself. You are an IFA leader as well. And you're not just defined by your leadership at PostNet, but look at the service you've done for IFA and the awards that you've taken in honor of the things that you do in entrepreneurship and in leadership and in franchising. So I'm only going to say that one time, but come on, man, you're an important person in the world of franchising, and it goes and it transcends a single brand. Talk a little bit about your involvement with IFA and your passion for service and paying it forward.
Sure, absolutely, and thank you for your kind words. And I'm just honored to serve and thrilled to be a part of any organization that cares about people, cares about value proposition, and cares about doing the right thing. So I'm just happy to be here and of service. But I got involved in IFA in 1991 when I made that decision to franchise, and I will tell you I have a number of times referred to the conversation that Scott Lair and I had at IFA, where Scott basically said, "You seem like a bright guy. I think there's a real opportunity for you in leadership here. I think you should start on some committees and you should think about getting involved." And so I actually started serving IFA on the membership committee under Joanne Shaw, who is the first woman chair of the association and one of the most amazing women that I know in franchising, among a lot of incredibly amazing women, as we all know. And I did that for about a year or two, and Joanne was looking, I think she was moving into the chairmanship at that time, and other things were happening, so I was asked to serve chairing that committee. Chaired that committee for a number of years, and of course, you guys know me well enough to know that through that work on the committee, I was ready to, reinvent the world of franchising and expand IFA globally and, and do everything in between. But it was through that service that I had an opportunity to get involved in the Educational Foundation. I chaired the foundation for a few years. I had an opportunity to work with the Finance, Audit, and Budget Committee. I worked in a number of committees of service, FranPac, and then was invited to serve on the executive committee, which ultimately led to my chairmanship at the association. The other highlight of my career there, quite frankly, was I was asked by Matt Shea to serve, to lead a strategic planning committee for the World Franchise Council, which to me was an incredible honor to be asked to work with what would be the equivalent of the United Nations of franchising on a plan to move that entire organization forward for the better of franchising worldwide. So, like I said, I've been very fortunate and very excited about being a part of not just being a good franchisor, but being a good citizen in the community.
So Steve was honored with the IFA's Entrepreneur of the Year Award in 2003, the Gary Rockwell Award for Excellence in Franchise Development in 2004, and then served as chairman of the IFA's Educational Foundation in 2005 and was the actual chairman of the Hall Shooting Match in 2008. So quite a background and quite a foundation that you bring with you to Riverside and to ComForCare. And tell us a little bit about that, Steve. It's a whole new world for you, and I know that you have a vision for how you're going to attack this portion of your career, and talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was approached by Riverside, I thought, wow, that's an area in which I have no real experience. I've had great relationships with some, I think, of the best and brightest in franchising that operate similar businesses, but I'll tell you, Stan, one of the things that caught me about what I've learned about being in this industry is that people have some relationship with the work that we do. It's either how their loved one was cared for at the time their loved one needed care, or things they would have liked to have done different or better. And I even had a personal experience with that with both my parents. So that was one of the hooks. And I think the other piece of it is, it was as simple as when I looked at the company and met the organization, their key objective was to help their clients live their best life possible. And that really resonated with me. In my former career, we went from a retail shipping brand to more of a business services provider. And the value-based opportunity I saw was in helping small businesses thrive and succeed in a rapidly, highly changing highly competitive environment where people at the small business level didn't have the kind of resources that they needed to be successful. But when you look at this model and the opportunity to serve people's loved ones, to allow them to age in place in their home, to make a difference in their lives every day, to help them live their best life possible, that was a calling for me, and really is kind of functionally what I wake up and I look at when I'm in this role every day, saying, are we as an organization helping our clients live their best life possible? Is my team and our teams in this organization living their best life possible? Most importantly, our caregivers, who are the people that are taking care of, the people we're entrusted with living their best life possible. And it was that notion that really drives my passion in this business.
It's interesting. Remember, thinking back about, your appearance on Undercover Boss, and of course, Shelley Sun's appearance on Undercover Boss as the CEO and founder of Brightstar. And so when I heard or read that you were going over to ComForCare, first thought was, Postnet to Comfort. And then I stopped and I thought about your emotions as you were going through Undercover Boss. And, of course, we only saw a glimpse of that. But, your emotions were real. And I remember, Shelley's emotions were real. And I thought, you know what? I could see Steve in this type of industry, and I think he'll do well here. If you would, share a little bit about undercover experience, because I know from having talked with you at different conferences, you had mentioned that it was a life-changing event, and certainly that had to contribute to where you are today.
Yeah, and before I did that, I'd just like to comment and say that, Shelley Sun is a incredibly gifted executive and someone I'm really thrilled to call a friend. So even the comparison, I really very much appreciate, and we did have the same experience with Undercover Boss, and we've talked about it. But I will tell you that a lot of folks, anyone on the phone, that's listening into this, that has built a business from the ground up or is very serious about how you're emotionally connected to your people in your organization. You really feel like you know a lot. You understand the people. You understand the culture very, very much. And it's those moments where you go, oh, my gosh, how did that get away from me? And I think that, the experience on Undercover Boss was, first of all, you got to be willing to open yourself up and be transparent and tell your story. And that's challenging enough just because some of us don't go to the level of depth that you're going to go to in an experience like that, because that's what makes it interesting to the audience. But more importantly, I just think that learning for myself in my organization that I really didn't think about the business from the perspective of our franchisees' employees, that I had spent so much time thinking about franchisee satisfaction, franchisee engagement, franchisee profitability, franchisees knowing, feeling, and understanding the true respect, and it sounds corny, but almost love we had for the brand, the organization, for them, and how important that was. But there was the people, the names, the faces that I didn't know that represented the brand, represented the culture. And so the Undercover Boss experience had me leave going, wow, we did a wonderful job organizationally. Maybe not as, wonderful is a big term. Maybe we could have done better, but we did a pretty darn good job. I think our franchisees knew how we felt and felt and what we cared about. But I'm pretty sure for a very long time, the franchisee's employee had no clue who we were, what we cared about, how important, how special the organization was that we were building. And so, taking that knowledge to a new opportunity here and understanding we literally have thousands of caregivers all over the country that are serving the folks and the families, in homes all across America. It's so important to make sure that they understand what you're a part of and what our why is and how they fit into that why, because without them, we're nothing. And so that take away from me is probably going to serve me for the rest of my career.
It's an amazing segment of the market that you enter, Steve. I've been reading just recently, knowing we were going to talk today, that the baby boomer generation born in the 40s and 50s has produced tremendous 83.7 million, almost double the estimated number of 65-year-olds in the country. Roughly 10,000 people will turn 65 every day for the next 20 years. So this increasing elderly population necessitates more health care and more service and more first responders, as I like to think of those in the same parlance as first responders. The people who give home care to me are like firemen and ambulance drivers. They're first responders. And the paid regulated number of senior care providers in the U.S. in 2012 was 58,500, servicing over 8 million people. That number is just like going through the roof. So anytime anyone thinks that there are, it's got to be a crowded segment of the market, it's got to be a really competitive place. Not really, is it, when you consider how many people are in need of the services that companies like Bright Star and your company, ComForCare, and others in this competitive set are servicing. How are we making that kind of a difference to the consumer who calls for care? How do you, in the marketplace, get the consumer to understand the difference in the value proposition that ComForCare provides over all the others in the set?
Yeah, and I think that's a great observation and a great question. I would tell you that I love your analogy. I mean, that's how I feel about these caregivers, the folks that are in our families' homes and in our loved ones' homes, taking care of aging adults. Those are the unsung heroes, the unrecognized workforce that is providing so much value, and that's something that I learned quickly as I came into this organization. I can tell you, Stan, just a little offshoot on that, is that because of that recognition of these folks that support our loved ones and how they really haven't been elevated in the community in terms of the work they do, we started driving an initiative when I came to ComForCare called Caregiver First. And that initiative includes mentor programs, career opportunity for advancement. It includes all types of support and family support programs to help them develop in their personal and professional life in our business. And then we, of course, share our values, share our goals as an organization, and really try to create awareness, for these special people. So that I'm glad we got to highlight that because I think it's critical. The second part of your question was more about how do we differentiate ourselves. I think the mere statement of this idea of ComForCare, a corporate mission or objective is to help people live their best life possible, is in itself very differentiating. The company's actually in its 5th anniversary of a memory program called DementiaWise, which is really an incredible program that is specifically for clients with Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. There's an adjunct program to that called Joyful Memories, where we use music, genre-based music, for association with our clients. And I will tell you, Stan, I have been at conferences with our owners as they tell me in tears about how they applied these programs, especially Joyful Memories, to a client in the home, and that the client would find a moment of clarity out of their fog and ask questions like, where's Bob? Where's Susie? And become clear enough, sometimes for hours or more, something about the stimulation of the memory association. I'm still learning as I go along here, but it is incredibly moving. So I would say a differentiator is those, the strong care enhancement programs, which is what I call them, the whole DementiaWise, Joyful Memories. There's also an initiative here to focus on ensuring that the caregiver is providing meaningful activities in the home. What we don't want is a caregiver in the home making sure meds are taken or doing whatever the lighthouse duty or chores are and then kind of, on their phone and not attentive. So we create opportunities for the caregiver through our care plan and our programs to interact in a meaningful way with the client. And it's, fulfilling for both the caregiver and the client. It's stimulating, and it creates a very positive environment for our caregiver and for the client. I think another differentiator is our recent partnership with Kindred, and in that regard, we're providing a comprehensive approach to transitions of care in the industry. So that's a very exciting relationship. And then finally, I would say, we've moved the organization into private duty nursing certification. So we're now helping franchisees to provide nursing related home care services to clients and expanding our capabilities. So think of it as home care to home health. And that gives, not only revenue growth, but care growth opportunities for the whole system.
You're listening to Franchise Today, now in its 9th season of podcasting. I'm Stan Friedman, along with my co-host, Paul Segreto. And today we're talking with Steve Greenbaum, serial entrepreneur, founder, franchisor, past chair of the IFA award winner, current CEO of ComForCare. Franchise Today is brought to you by the Franchise Foundry, where Paul and his team have been bringing emerging brands to market for more than 30 years. The Foundry fosters healthy, sustainable growth for their clients, the kind that comes from experience. The Franchise Foundry provides both coaching and consulting. It's a hybrid approach, delivering more effective solutions for both the franchisor's corporate team as well as for their franchisees. The Franchise Foundry team is rich in practical hands-on experience and expertise with general business management, operational and change management, digital marketing, and of course, franchise recruitment and development. Plus, the Foundry team can also assist with creating roadmaps for potential mergers and acquisitions and provide the kind of guidance needed to navigate them. You can learn more about Paul Segreto and the Franchise Foundry, along with their expanding list of clients, at www.franchisefoundry.com.
Franchise Today is also brought to you by FRM Solutions, offering best-in-class CRM and document management software designed specifically for franchising. FRM empowers real-time business intelligence, communication, and collaboration between all members of the franchisor's team and prospective as well as existing franchisees. This enables you to simply and seamlessly track, access, and manage all messages to and from prospective and existing franchisees, including text. Legal compliance is simplified as well with FRM's document management, and even site visits can be digitally facilitated and scored with FRM. Make today the day you give FRM a look and assure that all of your candidate and franchisee correspondence, including text messages, are being permanently tracked and stored in candidate and franchisee records. FRM even provides state-of-the-art digital experiences for your prospective franchisees, replacing old-style virtual brochures. No long-term contracts, multiple upgrades each year at no additional cost, no excuses, just solutions on the web at frmsolutions.com.
So, Steve, tell us a little bit about Care Patrol and how does that acquisition fold into, or does it fold into ComForCare and the relationship between the two?
Yeah, no, it absolutely does. Riverside's objective was to create an organization that serves clients along the continuum of care or through transitions of care. And, Care Patrol is actually the nation's leading or largest senior care placement organization. And the work they do is helping families find the right facility for their loved one. And it's really an interesting model because what they fundamentally do, Stan, is they build relationships with local facilities. They get to know the differences between the facilities. They pre-screen them. They look at the safety factors. They look at the history and quality of care and the cost. So if your loved one was looking for, or you were looking for your loved one for facility-based care, they would know the local market. They'd understand your needs, wants, likes, desires, and if you needed memory care or other special services, and then they would provide 3 or 4 options after vetting through a series of options, and would ultimately take you on tour, a guided tour of those facilities to help determine, again, the best facility for the family or someone's loved one. And so it's really, again, just a wonderful business, and it is consistent with the objective of serving along the continuum of care, because for home care and for people that can age in place and want to stay in their home, ComForCare is a phenomenal option. For folks that option may not be as viable, we have a solution to help them find the best solution for their needs. So the fit is perfect, and I will tell you the people of service in both these organizations are wonderful and really work hard to do the right thing by their clients.
Steve, as we just past the halfway point of the show, would like to talk some about the franchise model. How does this all come together in a franchise model moving forward, and who are the type of individuals that you're looking for?
Okay. Well, two different types of businesses, so let me sort of explain the differences. ComForCare is a business where we're providing in-home services through caregivers. That can either be done direct to consumer. Oftentimes we work in a large variety of referral-based relationships. So there's quite a bit of referring hospitals, long-term care insurance companies, workers' comp organizations, and so uniquely in the business of making sure that we have quality-based people that can go in and help take care of folks, families, and loved ones in their home. The other business is more of a placement type of service. So, again, uniquely different. I think I explained it fairly well on the Care Patrol side. What we look for in a franchisee, and I think it's fairly relevant in both models, are oftentimes people that come out of the medical industry or the healthcare industry, the pharmaceuticals industry, people that in one way or another have been influenced or touched by injury or illness with a loved one, memory needs or care with a loved one. These are very much community relationship businesses. And in both of these brands, we have a lot of servant leadership-based people, folks that come out of law enforcement, that come out of community service. It's very, very unique. They tend to make, great franchise owners. You've got to have a heart for service and a calling for the care and a mind for people. And when it comes to the franchise business model, we can do the rest. You guys know, and most of us on the call that have been involved in franchising, our objectives as responsible franchisors is to have a well-articulated, well-trained, well-supported franchise system that supports a brand and a set of values and delivers a quality value proposition not only to our franchise owners but to our customers and clients.
Excellent.
And we have that.
So with
obviously.
Right. With the two models, are you looking for franchisees to operate both? Is that what your goal is?
Yeah, no, I think not, quite frankly.
Okay.
They are uniquely different. So our objective is to build this multi-brand platform company that services aging adults along the continuum of care. So to be frank with you, franchisees are probably going to be unique from brand to brand to brand. And part of, I think, our role as an organization, because we get a significant amount of franchise inquiries, on a daily basis for both brands, is to help guide our candidates or prospective franchise owners through a thoughtful process to help them to understand the unique differences between the brands and help them find the right fit. And one of the things I'm really enjoying about this role is that if you feel the calling for helping take care of others, if you want to serve people in the community, this opportunity to serve among a number of, to find the right fit in that space with the ComForCare family of brands is highly likely and very capable. I think a big differentiator also is if you're a person that likes to lead people and build an organization with people, the ComForCare offering is really more staff centric because you're building a team of caregivers. The Care Patrol brand is a non-staffed model. Oftentimes the owner-operator will provide the service themselves or have a very small staff or team, lower overhead. So it really depends on what type of opportunity an individual is looking for as well.
What do you look for a franchisee in terms of a day in the life? If you were describing the opportunity to, respectively, for either of the two brands, as you just kind of started to touch on a little bit, what's it look like to walk a day in the shoes of one of your franchisees? What are they spending most of their time doing? Yeah,
I think they're fairly consistent in a number of ways, and maybe a little different in others. At the ComForCare side regarding home care, a lot of the work is done building relationships with local case managers, as I mentioned, local doctors, hospitals, the folks that are going to refer clients. So there's a ton of relationship building, relationship-based marketing. And then, Stan, I was just in Houston yesterday meeting with our brand family there. And I will tell you that the owners are also very, very involved in the initial conversations with families about, the value and the benefit of utilizing their service. In other words, they're personally involved in a lot of the onboarding of clients because they want families to know what they care about and what they can expect and trust when we provide services. So the whole home visit piece is very, very powerful. And then, as I mentioned before, the community support piece, working with referrals, that's very common. On the, just to kind of differentiate, Care Patrol, they're doing more in the area of, all of the relationship building we talked about, but also the guided tours, the assessing locations and facilities to make sure they're right for our clients, and really getting involved. This is a heavy community-based business.
Steve, are you still with us?
We're going through some major thunderstorm here that just is rocking things like you wouldn't believe.
Just kind of knocked
here. I can hold up against any thunderstorm.
Yeah, kind of knocked us off the air there for a minute, Paul.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I keep seeing the Wi-Fi kind of flicker over here. So if I wind up off, Stan, keep taking us home. But Steve, what kind of investment level does a franchisee look at, for either one of the opportunities?
Yeah. So the ComForCare investment is somewhere in the, and I don't have an FDD in front of me, but it is somewhere in the $75,000 to $150,000 range, just in round numbers. And the Care Patrol investment is somewhere in the $40,000 to $50,000 investment.
Yeah. So
did I lose you?
So reasonable.
No, we're good.
No, so reasonable. I'm going in and out of mute because of the thunder, but certainly a reasonable investment, and certainly a way to give back to the community. So we talked early on when I was doing the introduction about some additional expansion plans that Riverside Company has, been thinking about, and obviously you're leading this. What are some of those expansion plans? Where do you see this going?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned before, this whole notion of kind of looking at opportunities along the continuum of care is exactly what we're doing. So there are a number of organizations that do home modifications. That's something that we're interested in. We're clearly looking at businesses in the areas of wellness and nutrition. We're looking at businesses in the area of, sort of mind, body, and physical. Looking in the areas of, again, home health. Just literally want to be a go-to organization for aging adults.
Steve, do your franchisees operate in an office environment, or what does the physical infrastructure of the business look like?
Yeah, so our ComForCare franchisees do operate in a physical office because they do hiring, training, recruiting, and I believe that many of our Care Patrol franchisees as well. Stan, I just realized a point of distinction that's very important, and I should have mentioned this early in the call. One distinction for ComForCare is that our franchisees in the greater Houston area are known as At Your Side. And so oftentimes you'll hear the organization refer to franchisees as the ComForCare At Your Side franchisees. So it's important just to make note for anyone listening from the Houston area that might say, gee, that's something I haven't thought about. The brand the company uses in the greater Houston area is actually At Your Side, which I think had something to do with some trademark issues in the early foundings of the company probably 20 years ago. But it's important to mention because they're an important aspect of our organization, and if anyone from that group is listening, I don't want them to think that I've left.
Paul, are you with us, or are we have
yes,
we lost
I am
you?
back. Yeah. So,
all right, you're struggling.
So Steve, how would? Yeah, no, it's getting very, very dark here, and I just want to make sure we don't lose connection. I mean, we've already done Franchise Today through a Homeland Security bomb scare, so thunderstorm can't do much to us. Steve, how would individuals learn more about both opportunities?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for asking that. I appreciate it very much. So they would go to either our website, which would be ComForCareFranchise.com, or CarePatrolFranchise.com. So either ComForCare.com or ComForCareFranchise.com, or CarePatrol.com or CarePatrolFranchise.com, which would be the best way to go. Or they could just simply call 888-806-9130, and they can talk to someone that can help explain the opportunity.
Any expos or places that you're going to be in the coming weeks where people can find you as well?
Well, I personally will be in D.C. for our Franchise Action Network meeting, so I'm excited about that. I'm going to be at so unfortunately, prospective franchisees probably not through the end of the year, but on a business level, if franchise professionals wanted to connect, the Franchise Action meeting, and then clearly the
Leadership
Lane's event, Dan.
Springboard.
Springboard, yeah. So I'll be at Springboard as well. But again, that would only be interesting to, franchise professionals wanted to connect.
Got it. So Steve, we're about to wrap it up. If there were a single question that you wished Paul or I had asked and didn't, or a statement or parting words that you'd want to share with the audience, what would those be?
Yeah, thank you, Stan. No, I think a single statement would be, first of all, thank you both for the work you do to raise the visibility and the value, helping people understand what what franchise, what it is, what it isn't, and helping to showcase leadership and franchisors. It's a valuable program, and it means a lot, and I'm not just saying this because you featured me. I think it's a benefit. I would say thank you to the people that serve this great industry, because it creates more jobs and more opportunity than anything I've ever known. And then I think my final closing remarks would be, live your best life possible, and follow whatever takes you there. And you deserve the best. We all do. We work hard. We care deeply. And anyone in franchising knows this is a family and a community, not just a business.
All said well. And
very
right from
much
the heart.
so.
Really appreciate
very
being
much
with
so.
us today, Steve. And on behalf of Paul and myself, I want to thank you very much for your contributions to franchising in the industry as a whole and just your friendship over the years.
Absolutely. Same to both of you. Thank you, Stan.
Absolutely. Thanks, Steve.
All right, guys. Take care.
So Stan, it's interesting. We have Springboard coming up, and we hadn't even talked much about it. So I'm going to tell, all the emerging brand founders that are out there, if you're thinking of joining, the franchise community as a franchisor, get online and join this Springboard Unconference. That's going to be in Philadelphia, and let's get the dates, Wednesday, September 19th through the 22nd. I mean, it is a great event. Steve will be there. There'll be a host of other franchisors that'll be there. So many great people for you to tap into. And then I saw yesterday an old friend of ours in franchising, Sid Feltenstein, will be one of the speakers. I think it's going to be a great event. To me, I look forward to it more than any other event all year.
Well, Springboard is an opportunity not only to have the benefit of hearing and learning from people who have been in this business for a long time, for those emerging franchisors who attend, but because it's such a small conference in terms of in comparison to like an IFA convention, those franchisors of emerging brands that go to Springboard don't just attend, they participate. And the way Lane and Brad have put that program together over the years, and the help of some really incredible people in franchising who contribute to it, Ron Philman, Charlie Chase, Shelley's son, it's an endless list of people who pay it forward by helping emerging brands get the dose of culture as well as information and camaraderie. There's no event that you get as much out of as an emerging franchisor on every one of those fronts as you will at a Springboard. So I would certainly join you in endorsing this conference as the place to be, the go-to place to be for emerging franchisors.
Yep, absolutely. Well, Stan, another great show. I'm going to be very much proactive in the upcoming Springboard event. I will be leading one of the discussions on grassroots marketing for franchise systems. So I'm anxious to be doing that again. I think that's going to be my 4th year running doing that. So I'm honored to do that. But also, I'd like to announce officially that Franchise Today website is under construction, and I hope it'll be up and running before year's end, as well as a website for our new podcast, Franchising and You, which is focused on franchise candidates, that airs Saturday mornings at 8:30 a.m. Central Time. So we got some exciting things going on to further take the message out to the masses about this great thing we call franchising, Stan. And I'm proud that you're right here along with me on this journey.
Always a pleasure, Paul. Happy to be here and having more fun every week as we go along.
Well, until next week, my name is Paul Segreto, wishing you the best, the very best, again, as we say, in this great thing called franchising. And Franchise Today is out.
Franchise pros, Stan the Man, Paul Segreto. Time to show you the way of franchising today. Hey, do you possess the spirit of an entrepreneur? Or lay your business plan down like a rug or a floor? Or maybe you have a dream of opening a chain of delis, or whatever passion lights that pilot light under your belly. Or do you want to start a business, fam, using the proven trademark from another brand? And grow together and expand like a rage of fire, from a single to a multi-unit empire. Well, pay attention to this podcast that you hear and streaming in HD, so fine-tune both of your ears. And Stan and Paul lays down the law. Whether you want to be a franchisee or a franchisor, it's all about sustainable growth, the sensible franchising, proven concepts, the smart enterprising. So use your left and right side of your brain and absorb this knowledge here, franchising today. Badlands, baby. Franchising today. Sustainable growth, the sensible franchising. Franchise today. Sustainable growth through sensible franchising. Franchise today. Franchise today. Franchise today. Yeah.
Hi, it's Jamie, Progressive's Employee of the Month, 2 months in a row. Leave a message at the... Hi, Jamie. It's me, Jamie. I just had a new idea for our song about the Name Your Price tool. So when it's like, tell us what you want to pay, hey, 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 and the trombone goes, blah, 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 and you say, we'll help you find coverage options to fit your budget. Then we just all do finger snaps while a choir goes, savings coming at ya, savings coming at ya. Yes? No? Maybe? Anyway, see your practice tonight. I got new lyrics for the rap break.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
When you're part of a military family, you understand sacrifice and support. So at American Public University, we honor your dedication by extending our military tuition savings to your extended family. Parents, spouses, legal partners, siblings, and dependents all qualify for APU's preferred military rate of just $250 per credit hour for undergraduate and master's level programs. American Public University. Value for the whole family. Learn more at apu.apus.edu/military.